Now at 5:30 on Newswatch.
The Athens County Dog Shelter is at the center of a controversy.
Republican presidential candidates will face off in one more debate tonight before Super Tuesday.
And in sports, we're live from the Convocation Center as Ohio's women take on Bowling Green.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens. This is Newswatch.
Authorities are continuing their search for an inmate who escaped from a jail facility in Fairfield County. Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Fowler.
And I'm Graylyn Roose. Jeremiah Searles put socks on his hands to protect himself as he climbed a barbed wire fence. The Hocking County Sheriff says a man fitting the inmate's description knocked on a resident's door Monday night and asked to use the phone. Searles was discovered missing Monday night in Lancaster. He was being held on a Missouri warrant for deviant sexual assault and other local charges, including criminal trespassing and possession of narcotics. A death investigation is underway in Gallia County. According to Sheriff Joe Browning, a call came in around noon today from a home on State Route 7. Browning says a friend found the homeowner in distress and called 911. By the time the ambulance arrived, the man had died. The cause of death has not been determined, and no name has been released yet.
Athens County has a problem with overpopulation of dogs. Because of that, the county dog shelter euthanizes aggressive and old and sick dogs using a gas chamber. It is one of only 13 Ohio counties that still does so. About 160 dogs were euthanized last year in Athens County, but the procedure is controversial. At a town hall meeting last night, activists argued that lethal injection is a more humane way to put animals down.
My main reason is that it's better for the dogs. Gassing is not humane because it can take up to a half hour. It's painful. It causes them distress. Euthanasia by injection is a shot. They're asleep within a few seconds and dead within a few minutes.
We're discussing moving towards injection. We've been making moves towards injection. We have a preferred policy by injection right now. The question will be if the board decides to vote to go all the way.
Eliason says he hopes the commissioners can make a decision on the matter soon. Athens County Commission candidate Mike O'Brien is calling for a no-kill policy at the dog shelter. It happened last night during a League of Women Voters forum featuring 7 Democrats running for 2 seats in the primary election. Another candidate, Chris Schmiel, proposed cutting the commissioner's salary to save money, and another, Paul Barrett, said if he's elected, he'd give 5% of his pay to charity. Candidates Gary Edwards and Charlie Atkins clashed over fracking. Edwards says it's an economic opportunity, while Atkins calls for testing because of the chemicals involved. Across the border in Huntington, a hearing is set for Monday over whether 2 dogs should be euthanized. One dog owner believes her dogs are sick, but some animal rights activists argue they're not sick enough to be put to death. The dogs were dropped off at the Cabell Wayne Animal Shelter yesterday to be put down, but shelter volunteers say they don't think the dogs look sick and want proof of the dog's illnesses. According to West Virginia State Code, a dog can be euthanized when it appears injured, disabled, or diseased. An attorney has been hired to save the dogs. In the meantime, a judge says the dogs must be kept alive.
A child neglect case has a Huntington mom behind bars. Police say Christiana Bradshaw was away from her home to run errands and left her kids alone. Yesterday, her 4-year-old autistic twin sons were seen wandering in an intersection outside their home in their diapers. Police say Bradshaw barricaded her sons in a toy room. She is charged with child neglect. Her bond is set at $100,000. Bradshaw was being held at the Western Regional Jail. The investigation of a deadly coal mine explosion in West Virginia appears to be moving up the corporate ladder. Superintendent Gary May at the Upper Big Branch mine has been charged with conspiracy to defraud the federal government. He was named in a document that shows he's cooperating with prosecutors. The mine explosion was the worst U.S. mine disaster in decades and killed 29 people.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Trevor Cole, taking a look at what's going on outside right now across the Athens area. You can believe it or not, it was very gray out there today, but it's 59 degrees. That is a full 13 degrees above average for this time of year. Taking a look, we've got similar conditions across the region. We've got 56 in Lancaster, 58 in Ashland, and a touch cooler up in Steubenville with 55. Taking a look at the overnight conditions, we'll have a chance of rain, a pretty slight chance. 9 p.m. will be right around 51 still. Midnight will still be right around 50, 48 degrees, and the rain chances decrease through the night, and then we bottom out around 44. So honestly, not a bad weather pattern we're in right here. I kind of like this.
Yeah, it's pretty warm. If I have to deal with rain, that's fine with me.
I brought out the shorts yesterday for the first time. I loved it.
Thanks, Trevor.
The Morgan County Sheriff's Office is planning to put money from a drug raid toward drug education. An April raid led to the confiscating of almost $900,000, 120 guns, and 15 automobiles. The proceeds can only be used for funding drug and alcohol education, training, and buying equipment. At the time, it was one of the largest drug raids in the county's history.
Pit bulls in Ohio are officially no longer labeled as vicious dogs. Governor John Kasich signed a bill that changes the law defining a vicious dog as one that has seriously hurt or killed a person, killed another dog, or is among those commonly known as pit bulls. The new measure removes a reference to pit bulls from the definition and requires evidence to prove pit bulls are actually dangerous. 3 of the largest Ohio schools groups have joined together to fight a sudden jump in their bills from American Electric Power. The groups are asking state regulators to give special consideration to school districts to avoid more budget cuts in the already bad economy. AEP says the changes are a part of a move toward competition among power providers.
West Virginia exports have reached record-breaking highs. In 2011, West Virginia exports were up more than 39% from 2010, with a total of $9 billion. Leading the way, coal. Governor Earl Ray Tomblin says the state exported $5.4 billion worth of coal last year. The state exported $1 billion worth of plastics. Tomblin says the state led the country in export growth in 2011.
Athens EMS is asking for more money on next month's primary ballot.
We'll have a live interview with the director after the break.
The last Republican debate before Super Tuesday is set for tonight. What could make or break the candidates? We will have next on Newswatch. It's been nearly a month since the Republican presidential candidates have faced off in a debate, but that will end tonight. Shelby Lynn takes a look at what could be a make or break night for the candidates.
It's been 27 days since the GOP presidential hopefuls last met on the debate stage, a lifetime in a political season that's seen lightning-fast twists and turns.
It's great to be here in Tucson.
After performing well in the early caucus states, Rick Santorum is now running neck and neck with Mitt Romney in Arizona and Michigan, the next states to vote. Tonight, for the first time, he'll take the stage as a frontrunner. Analysts say he should be ready to fend off attacks, and he needs to prove he can lead the party.
If we've learned anything this election cycle, it's that debates matter. And so if somebody stumbles or has a gaffe, that could be the difference.
The stakes are also high for Romney, who's performed well this primary season, but is still struggling to get Republicans excited about his candidacy.
I believe in America. I believe in the right course for America. I believe it is to restore the principles that made America the hope of the earth.
Newt Gingrich needs a breakout performance. He's been fading fast since his victory in South Carolina. He says he's preparing for tonight by thinking deeply.
I think I do much better when we talk about big topics and big solutions, and I do much worse when we get down into the kind of negativity of the campaign.
Ron Paul spent the day fundraising and is counting on continued support from his force of enthusiastic and devoted followers. With most of the country still to vote, this primary showdown could continue for months. I'm Shelby Lynn reporting.
The last debate was back in January in Florida. After Arizona and Michigan, Wyoming and Washington will hold their caucuses, and then it's on to Ohio and 9 other states on Super Tuesday in March. Even before the debates tonight, Republicans are having mixed reactions after a proposal today from President Barack Obama. The proposal is for a lower corporate tax rate and an end to dozens of loopholes that Obama says have helped companies move jobs overseas. Obama's plan would establish a new 28% corporate tax rate, which is down from the current 35%, but still higher than the 25% rate Republicans wanted.
Activists say more than 70 people have been killed across Syria so far today as the Syrian president's regime continues its assault on the city of Homs. Among those killed today were 2 foreign journalists. One victim was a French photojournalist and the other was American Marie Colvin of the Sunday Times. The deaths of the 2 journalists come less than a week after a New York Times correspondent died in Syria. Colvin spoke to CNN about the suffering in Homs just a day before she was killed. She said Syria was the worst conflict she'd covered, and many snipers surrounded the neighborhood. Colvin had reported from many conflicts, including last year's Libyan civil war.
We've all watched, I think with some degree of horror as we've witnessed the onslaught on homes. It brings it home in a new way, I would say, that we need to, the international community needs to do more to help the Syrian people. But again, we're talking about measures that the international community is going to try and take when they meet in Tunis, these friends of Syria. But let's, squarely put blame back on Assad and his regime, who bear responsibility for these deaths and the deaths of thousands of innocent civilians.
At least 2 other Western journalists have died in Syria this year. An Egyptian judge has set a date for a verdict and sentencing in the trial of former President Mubarak. Mubarak is being tried on charges of complicity in the killing of protesters during the 18-day uprising that ousted him in February last year. His lawyer said in the closing arguments that Mubarak is still president, meaning the 7th-month trial is invalid.
Greece's financial minister says a new $172 billion bailout deal binds Greece to the euro and will keep the country from defaulting. Today, the Greek government says a new round of measures will deepen the recession and cause the country to miss its goal of generating a budget surplus in 2012.
Every Eurozone country that borrows too much and has a problem raising money in the markets has to answer to Brussels and will have to give up some sovereignty to EU institutions. It's asymmetric. It doesn't apply to Eurozone countries that are not in trouble. It doesn't apply to Germany or to the Netherlands or to Finland.
The government is scrambling to push through emergency laws that will cut incomes and state spending. Eurozone countries demanded Greece to change their laws and its constitution to make debt repayment a priority.
The Athens County Emergency Medical Services has decided to ask for a replacement levy rather than a renewal levy. The measure will be decided at the March primary and will be $1 million. Director of Athens County EMS Corey Leniger joins us now in our studio. Thanks for being here this evening.
Thank you.
I want to start off by asking, why are you asking for passage of this levy in March?
We're asking for this to continue the service that we currently provide. We need some additional funding to move into the future.
Okay. And this is a replacement issue, but not a renewal. Why are you deciding to do that?
Right now, we currently operate right at the maximum of our budget. We have some things that we need to move forward with, truck replacement, maintenance of stations and things like that. We need the additional funding brought by the replacement levy to help us move towards accomplishing those goals.
And how much money will the levy actually generate annually?
Compared to what it's generating right now, it will generate, with the tax base, it will generate us an additional $249,000 on top of what we already collect.
And how much will the levy then cost the average person or the average household in Athens County?
Based on a $40,000 home, it will give them an increase of about $4 on their annual taxes. A $100,000 market home, about $10.
And do you have other significant sources of revenue besides this levy?
We operate on 3 levies passed by the residents of Athens County. We also bill for our patients, but our patient billing only brings in about 1/3 of our total budget.
Okay, so you need the levy to make up some of the difference.
Absolutely.
All right. And on a yearly basis, how much does it cost to operate the EMS service overall?
Right now, we're operating on a budget of about $2.8 million, and we're right on where we need to be with the service that we can provide, but we're also right at the edge of expending almost every bit of that. We need some extra money to be able to move into the future and keep on pace with changing trends in EMS.
How do you feel that the levy will help that?
Allow us to start to replace trucks in our fleet that may be aging. We have some facilities that we need to update, and it'll also allow us to keep up with equipment trends in EMS, new EKG machines, other things that might come about with different rules. EMS is kind of an ever-changing type of profession.
So you have a lot of needs for this levy. What will happen if it's defeated in March?
If it's defeated in March, we'll try again, and come November, hopefully we can show the community that this is what we need. Ultimately, if it would be defeated, we would have to make some cuts to the EMS system. Currently, right now, our system functions well, and we meet the needs of the county. If it would fail, we'd have to try to come up with some way to continue to meet those needs, but with less staffing somewhere along those lines. So.
Okay, and you said that the EMS here is relatively new. It used to be a conglomerate.
Yes, the system that serviced this area before was Southeast Ohio Emergency Medical Services. January 1st of last year, this county broke off from that and would become Athens County EMS.
Corey Leniger, thanks so much again for stopping by tonight.
Thank you very much.
Stocks closed lower today, breaking three straight days of gains. Investors backed off from a rally that had sent stocks into a multi-year highs as European activity raised concerns about a recession.
Well, the unsettled pattern continues across the area. We've got a threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow across the viewing area. Stay tuned for that, and we'll also take a look at your extended forecast. Stay tuned. From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Trevor Cole. Let's take a look at what's going on right now across the Athens area. We're at 59. Very pleasant day across the area. The same thing around the region as well. Everybody's running about 10 to 15 degrees above normal for this time of year, so I know a lot of people are enjoying that out there today. And let's take a look now at the almanac here. We could just, get fine-tuned details with this. 59 and 46 where we should be. There's that 13. Hey, we were even a little bit above average on that low for last night as well. And the records 72 back in 1922 and -5 in 1963. Taking a look at the precipitation tracker, and we've got a kind of a complex situation here going on, and you can see this area of low pressure is what's going to increase the storminess tomorrow and tomorrow night across the area. And that low is basically going to bend around in here tomorrow evening, bend down, and then shoot back up into the Ohio Valley. And see here by tomorrow evening, everybody's getting in on the rainfall and shower and thunderstorm activity. And actually, we're expecting quite a big severe weather outbreak to the south. So if you have any plans, you're headed south into the southern Gulf Coast states, or you have any family members down there, it'd be a good idea to let them know that they could be looking at some pretty nasty thunderstorms down there, including the threat for some pretty strong winds and even a few tornadoes. Here, the threat's a little bit lower because the low is passing so close to us that it's not going to allow a lot of that juicy air ahead of it to really get into the area. So that's some good news for us here in the Athens area. Point south, though, our southern viewing area, though, could get into a little bit of rocky thunderstorm activity, especially tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. By Friday morning, look at that front. That thing is just zooming on east. That's going to get out of the area and usher in another blast of cold air. So we were warm for a little while, but we got more cold air on the way. And here's that thunderstorm outlook for tomorrow. I kind of pegged a couple different areas. The red is where there's the highest concern for any of that severe thunderstorm action. Severe thunderstorm, winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger, and tornadoes is also considered a severe thunderstorm. That should stay to the south, but look at that. You can see we actually have a part of our viewing area in that, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. We'll have the team tomorrow night working on that, making sure we're ahead of the storm on this one. General strong thunderstorms for the rest of us, though. Gusty winds, maybe some small hail, maybe a little bit of minor flooding if you're right next to a street or a stream or a creek, but nothing really large scale or anything too bad across this area. For tomorrow across the region, you can see all of us in the 60s with thunderstorms, especially late. And then for tonight in Athens, mostly cloudy with scattered showers and storms, winds out of the south at 5 to 10. That's going to usher in the warm air. And then for tomorrow, 62, a great day for temperatures, though we have some precipitation and showers and thunderstorms to work with, especially late in the day. And for the 7-day forecast, you can see we got a little bit of stuff to talk about here. Strong thunderstorms on Thursday, rain snow mix on Friday. And then we've got some a brief period of calm weather. And then we also see another system developing for next week, though. And that will cause some problems because we're looking at another threat for heavy rain and maybe some more strong thunderstorms.
Well, it's been really nice weather today, and it looks like tomorrow, hopefully we won't get too hard tomorrow night.
Absolutely, yeah. It looks like the worst should stay south.
Good. Thanks, Trevor.
Yep.
Good news, and I hear there's some basketball action, both high school last night and college coming up.
Definitely. Already we have teams in the high school that are moving on to the second round of their respective playoff divisions, but both Bobcat basketball teams are in action tonight. Isn't that right, Kaylee Donegan?
Ohio, a tough conference matchup lay ahead for the Ohio women's basketball team. Stay tuned for a live preview and just see what to expect tonight in the Convo. It's all next on Newswatch.
Well, 4 days after hosting a doubleheader, the Convocation Center is once again hosting college basketball. Ohio's women are a little over an hour away from hosting MAC East leaders Bowling Green in their final home game of the regular season. And WOUB sports reporter Kaylee Donegan joins us live now from the Convocation Center. Good evening, Kaylee. Bowling Green sits atop of the conference at 12-1. So what has this team done this season to earn such a good record?
Well, Matt, being on top of the MAC is really nothing new for Bowling Green. In fact, this is the 8th year in a row that the Bowling Green Falcons have at least earned a share of the MAC East title. And this year, Bowling Green is just doing it on both sides of the ball. On defense, they are leading the MAC. They only allow their opponents to score 54.7 points per game, and they're also doing it on offense. They are averaging 66 points per game, and they have 3 players scoring in double figures. Christy Steffen is leading the way with just under 14 points, and Alexis Rogers and Jessica Slagle are each averaging 12 points per game.
Well, I know Ohio played Bowling Green last month, back at the Stroh Center up in Northwest Ohio, but the Bobcats couldn't just finish the job. What happened?
Well, Matt, you know, the score was 61-49 back in January, but it really doesn't give an accurate tale of kind of how the game went. Ohio was close till just about the very end when they just couldn't find any offensive production. Ohio has struggled at times on the offensive end. They won against Kent State on Saturday, 51-45, but they only shot just above 24% from the field. But we have seen some glimpses of excellence from the Ohio offense this year. Against Ball State, they shot a season-high 60%, and against Western Michigan, they shot 68% in the first half. But what Ohio can always rely on is their defense. They forced 32 Kent State turnovers, and at one point in Western Michigan game, they didn't let the Broncos score for over 10 minutes. So they can really do it on defense, but if they're going to try and compete against this Bowling Green team tonight, it's a tough Bowling Green team. They're really going to have to put in 40 full minutes of both offense and defense to try and come away with a win.
All right, Kaylee Donegan from the Convocation Center, thanks a lot. While the women will be trying to win their 3rd game out of 4, the men will try to win their 3rd game in a row tonight. Ohio is in the Nickel City for its MAC East showdown with Buffalo. If the Bobcats win tonight, it will be the 4th time this season they've won at least 3 contests in a row. It would also put them in position for the 2nd seed in the conference tournament, which means their first game would be in the semifinals. If the season had ended yesterday, Ohio would be the 4th seed, meaning a bye through the first 2 rounds and a quarterfinal game in Cleveland's Quicken Loans Arena. The Bulls and Bobcats met in Athens back on January 11th, with the Bobcats coming out on top 60-52 behind DJ Cooper's 15 points. Cooper totaled 28 points and 11 assists in last week's wins over Bowling Green and North Carolina Asheville. Well, boys high school basketball began its playoffs this week. 2 Athens County teams were in action last night, starting their postseason play. And Trimble's postseason will continue after the Tomcats etched out a 45-44 win over TVC Hawking rival Miller for their first playoff win since 2004. Cyrus Jones led the team with 15 points, while Cody Bragg contributed 8 points and 11 rebounds. Skylar Hook led the Falcons with 11 points, but Miller struggled in the second half, shooting 25% from the field and turning the ball over 21 times. Trimble will make up a regular season game with Wahama tomorrow night, but their playoff journey will continue next Wednesday when they take on another Hawking team in Southern. Alexander, meanwhile, came up short against Beggs in a 61-45 upset. Freshman point guard Jordan Mosley led the Spartans with 15 points, but the Marauders exploded for 21 second-quarter points for their 2nd win of the season. Meggs now faces Wellston on Saturday. Athens, Federal Hawking, and Nelsonville York will all open their postseasons on Friday night. And Ohio State men's hoops was back in action last night against Illinois. The Buckeyes raced out to a 20-point lead in the first half and never looked back during their 16-point win over the Illini. Deshaun Thomas led OSU with 19 points as the team shot 65% from the field. With the win, the Bucs are now 11-4 in the Big Ten, tied for 2nd place with Michigan, with both teams trailing Michigan State by a half game. The Buckeyes will next play on Sunday afternoon in Columbus against Wisconsin before closing the regular season next week at Northwestern and Michigan State. And Graylyn and Andrew, I just found out OU senior Paul Grauer has been a MAC Golfer of the Week, so a lot of excellence from Ohio athletics.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. The operative word today is basketball, lots of exciting basketball.
Absolutely. For any huge basketball fan, this week is an absolute must-see.
Thanks a lot, Matt. And stay tuned tonight on WOUB.
Here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station. Do you ever wish your car could drive you to work? It could be possible now with a new car that is in development. The car can call and make reservations at intersections, which would help manage traffic and prevent accidents.
People spend about 48 hours per year stuck in traffic, which can also create a big drain on the economy. The professor who is developing the car believes that it will allow people to be more productive while going to work. While the car isn't available for sale yet, there is hope. That the car could help make driving safer and easier.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
That's on my Christmas list for next year.
All right, let's take a check of the weather. Final check of the weather. What's
right now we got pretty nice temperatures out there. 42 though for the low tonight. We're going to see a couple scattered showers and storms about the area. Tomorrow more widespread, mainly late evening overnight for us here in the southeast Ohio area. And then for the 7-day forecast, strong thunderstorms possible tomorrow evening overnight. We'll keep an eye on that. Kind of a rain-snow shower mix for Friday, light snow for Saturday, then a brief clearing, and then back into the active weather again for the middle of next week. That one we got to actually really watch too.
Well, at least we got the sunny, nice weather today.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Can't complain.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trevor. And that does it for our broadcast on this 22nd of February, 2012. Thanks for watching. For Trevor Cole, Matt Digby, and Andrew Fowler, I'm Graylyn Roose.
You can get the latest news and weather on the WOUB radio network, and you can view our program anytime online at WOUB.org. Have a great night.